Hey Farmerly, it's DIY, and today I'm going to show you how to plant and fertilize a fruit tree. Today we're going to be planting 2 mango trees. These are mangoes that I planted from seed from a friend's tree. There's some people out there that will tell you not to plant a fruit tree from seed, that it takes too long to produce, or that the fruit doesn't taste as good. Of course, we can always graft these trees later if we choose to, and that will make it fruit much quicker. As far as flavor goes, there's a chance that these seeds could taste better than their parent plants. Mangoes are a quick growing tree. I planted these seeds about a month ago. I want to get them into the ground quickly so that they can establish their deep taproot, and I don't want to prevent them from growing that taproot in these small pots. So we're going to get them in the ground, we're going to let them flourish, and we're going to grow a great variety of mango right here. For the location of this fruit tree, I'm going to plant the mangoes right next to my compost bin, so that those roots can go searching for nutrients and pull from some of the soil that I'm building here in my compost bins. When planting a fruit tree, my first step is loosening up the soil underneath where I'm going to be planting. That ensures that the tree can send down its taproot without any challenges. To the hole, I've added some old, rotten, decaying logs. I've added some yard scraps, ornamentals, even some old tree moss, and I trimmed back my sweet potato vines, which are taking over the yard, and I will stuff all of this into the hole as an organic matter that the mango root system can feed on in the future. Now we will cover our organic matter with a little soil. And now the mango is ready to be planted. Now this next step may be heresy in the fruit growing world, but I'm going to plant both of these mangoes in the same hole. Say what? Mangoes can grow to be 50 feet tall. They get so tall that when their fruit falls, it explodes from the impact. Instead of letting these trees grow to be 50 feet tall, I'm going to dwarf them from the beginning by planting them both in the same hole. Okay, he did say what I thought he said. 2 trees, 1 hole? He crazy. This will ensure that I can pick fruit by hand or easily from a ladder, and it will make sure these mangoes bush out instead of growing tall. The secret to planting a fruit tree is high and tight. You want to make sure there's at least 2 inches of that topsoil above your native soil when planting your fruit tree. That's because the fruit tree will settle and sink down into the hole, and if it gets too low, it can start to get root rot from all of the moisture accumulation, and also the root itself will be underground where it can start to rot out. So plant it high and plant it tight. What that means is you need to stomp around the outside of the fruit tree to really compress that soil, make sure that the fruit tree is resistant to wind, and that those roots start to take hold. Plant it high, plant it tight. Here are the amendments that I use to fertilize my fruit trees. The first amendment that I add to my fruit trees is green sand. Green sand is a mineral pitch that's rich in iron and also helps with water retention in the soil, absolutely critical in sandy soils. Next is azomite. Azomite is a volcanic ash that comes from volcanic beds in Utah, and this is rich in the macro minerals like calcium and magnesium, as well as the micro minerals like boron and zinc. So a great supplement to add to your fruit trees. Next comes an organic fertilizer. This is a 464. That first number represents the nitrogen. Mangoes don't love a high nitrogen fertilizer, so a 4% is a good ratio to go with when fertilizing a fruit tree like a mango. The last amendment for our fruit trees is biochar. Biochar is a type of charcoal that has nutrients in it, and it will help stabilize all these other supplements and keep them around so that they last longer. There's one more amendment that I like to add to my fruit trees, and that's a food grade clay. This is bentonite clay. The reason why I add this to my fruit trees is because it helps retain that humus, it helps slow down the release of all these minerals, and it will help with water absorption in sandy soil as well. All I do is I take about 1 cup per fruit tree of each of these amendments, and I sprinkle that around the base of the fruit tree. Let me wax a little bit about fruit trees. I can't help but see the similarities between fruit trees and humans. When we're feeding these fruit trees, it's so important to give those macronutrients and those micronutrients to the trees. It's just like humans. If we're not getting specific minerals and vitamins in our diet, we may become nutrient deficient and start to display some type of inadequacy because of our diet. Fruit trees are much the same way. When they don't have these micronutrients and macronutrients, they can start to display signs of weakness. Just like I take a multivitamin every day, I make sure that my fruit trees are getting their multivitamin. There you have it. That's how you plant and fertilize fruit trees without getting sweaty in the process. Speaking of fruit, look what is ripe today. We've got this pineapple in a squirrel cage because they love the pineapples more than we do. And we have a ripe pineapple, so let's harvest this.